Steve, welcome to Rotherham United. We'll start with a nice open question. Why this challenge in particular for you?
I think I've reached a stage in my career where I need to use a lot of my experience. In the last couple of years, been coaching with the national team, Jamaica, which has really suited me. But I've always had an eye on a director of football, head of football, some way in which I can kind of move upstairs and influence on a bigger scale a football club. Difficult to find. And I just feel that once I met Tony, I met him about 10 years ago, I think, where we talked about managing here when they were in the Championship. And he got back in touch with me in, I think it was February, March. And they were thinking of changing manager. Unfortunately, I was in a boot, just had an ankle operation, so I wasn't walking. So I said, look, what I'll do is once I get walking again, I'll come and see you. Came to a game, had a lovely lunch, and we talked football. And it was one of them conversations, and I've had lots of conversations with owners previously, and there's something missing between the owner and the manager, and conduit, shall we say. And I feel that the longer that we talk together, I could fill that void and help him. So basically it was just, I think I can help you. And he wanted that help. He reached out, wanted a meeting, and we talked together. And I always remember whenever when I worked with Sir Alex Ferguson, one of his best bits of advice were, when you join a football club, whatever role, make sure you join because of the owner, not necessarily the club. And that's quite honestly one of the reasons, big reasons why I'm here, because of Tony, what he's done at this football club over many, many years, from saving it to building this stadium, to maintaining it, to getting into the Championship, which is an absolutely remarkable feat. So I've admired that from afar. He's a proper gentleman. This is a proper football club with proper people working in it, and also the fans watching.
You're not somebody that would have been short of offers across the game. What was it that perhaps stood out in those conversations you alluded to that really convinced you that this was the right time to join Rotherham United?
I think it's difficult to find that position where a lot of people, because I've been coaching on the grass all the time, people would not kind of think that Steve McClaren, director of football, head of football, would come about, and they're right. But I think just the longer that I spoke to Tony, this felt ideal, because he wanted somebody to take over the football, be in charge of the football, align it from the top down to the bottom. And that's the key thing, is alignment. Get everybody off the same page, working towards the same goal, and making sure that standards are there all the time. And the standards obviously are driven by the people. So the people are important to drive the standards, to get alignment. You've then got a successful football club. And conversations with Tony gave me the freedom to take control, and give him a bit of reality. I know through experience what good standards are and bad standards are. I know what a good culture is and a bad culture is. I know what winning takes, and I know what losing takes. So I've had success and failure. So I know, and that's what I hope to bring is, if you keep doing that, we're not going to succeed. If we do this, we've got a good chance of it. So that's the key to it, is coming here and basically, trying to set the standards of which I think will then take Rotherham back to where they belong in the Championship.
You quite rightly point out that alignment's going to be a big thing for you, as is strategising moving forwards. For Rotherham fans that aren't too familiar with this kind of role, as we say, it's a newly created one. What kind of departments are you going to find yourself in? Of course, it's everything football, but give us a bit of a flavour of what day-to-day duties might look like.
Well, everything is about standards. It's working with you guys in media. It's working with commercial guys. It's working with the financial people. It's setting the culture in the front office, as I say. You've got to get that right. And everything is towards them 11 players out on the side. That's your product. So we have to improve that product at the moment. It's not there and it's failing. So we have to improve that product. And everybody's responsibility outside of that, from front office to recruitment, to coaches, to commercial, to whatever, is to make that product better and to make it successful and to get it winning football matches. So the job is quite simple. It's difficult to do, but it's quite simple. We need to build the culture back up. We need to, and it's about people. So at the present moment, we've only got 9 players and the rest are being released. So we need players, but we need them of a certain character. And we need, what impresses me about Rotherham, and always has, this has been a nightmare place to come and play. You always get a hard game and difficult game. And why? Because it's a proper football club. And the values that it's got, they value hard work. They value that. They value honesty. They value that. And the things that they value, and the most important thing is resilience. You can work hard, you can have that. But resilience is key. And that's what this club has shown over the years, that it's yo-yoed from second to first, to championship, stayed, come back down, come back up. So the resilience that it showed from bouncing back from adversity, that epitomises the values of Rotherham. And I think they're great values. That's what Tony brings. That's why he's still here, and that's why he's still chirpy and enthusiastic, energetic. That's the key thing. Everybody must come through that door who represents Rotherham and be energetic and bring energy. And he does that. He's honest. He's honest. He works hard to achieve that club. And you've got to work hard to get them standards. And they're the values. And they're my values. We are 2 Yorkshiremen together who've come together. And we know they're the values. And we might not have the resources, but we will have the whereabouts to make sure that we, the resources that we have, we make the most of. But the key is to build on the product, the team, and get that playing how the supporters want to see. They want to see hard work. They want to see honesty. They want to see endeavour and improvement. So that's the foundation that we all have to bring to this. And if we get that, then we'll have setback. This is not an easy job. I've signed today, but I've been talking to the chairman, Tony, for about 3 or 4 weeks. So I've delved into a lot of things and spoke to a lot of people. And this is tough because I think over the last 4 years, the 4 clubs that have been relegated, out of even 5 years, 3 of them have come up. And the rest, the other 3 clubs, have finished below halfway. So that stat, and I checked, I thought, well, is that an anomaly? But no, over 10 years, it's exactly the same. It is 1 in 4 go back up, and the rest fall by the wayside. And that's the first message I said to Tony when I came in. You have to stop the rot. You have to stop. And that's the first job. Don't worry. Don't even think about or contemplate promotion. It's stopping the rot. It's getting proper people in here who work hard, honest people, and have got resilience, because you need it. This is not going to be easy, and there's going to have to be a lot of great support from the supporters, from the fans, a lot, but also a lot of patience, because it might not happen overnight, and generally it doesn't. You have to build, get the processes, get the standards, get the values, get the people, and that means players, that means coaches, that means staff, front office, that means commercially, media. Get the right people, heading in the right direction, the right bus, but in the right seats, because if not in the right seats, you're not going to succeed. So that's the job.
Just like to ask one more question on all the points you've just discussed there, in terms of the qualities that you recognise Rotherham United have become synonymous with over the years. You've managed and coached all across the world. Is it sometimes just that a certain dynamic fits? You've mentioned loads of words there that will really resonate with fans listening to this at home, but is it perhaps that Rotherham United are who they are in terms of their identity, and you want to continue that and build on it?
Oh, without a doubt. Don't lose that. That's a strength. That's why, I came here with Derby County. Hated coming here. The atmosphere, the intensity of the football. But also, it isn't just about that endeavour and hard work and honesty and values. It's also quality, because you always had good players here, good players who could win football matches. You always had them who could work hard, make it difficult for you, but you always had that. I remember Michael Smith. He was, never play against him, and always scored goals. And so that's what we want to build. That's the vision. And where we want to be is a long way away, and the hard work that needs to start here. There's a lot. So patience, but get the right identity, the right way of playing, how we want to, the right standards, the right processes. And that starts today. That starts in recruitment of the right people is the most important thing in a football club.
There's never a perfect world in football, is there? But perhaps looking at the fact that Rotherham United have said goodbye to so many players this summer, does that really enable you to try and build that culture perhaps a bit more quickly than you would say if there was 25 players already under contract?
Yeah, I mean the big stat and analysis that we're doing at the present moment is, what will get us out of League Two, what has happened in the past, what's the history of things, and many clubs who come down have found it very difficult to turn around and change the squad. I think Cambridge last year, they changed 21 players around that mark. And we have that opportunity also. We just have 9 in the building at the present moment. So we need a lot of players coming in here, but that doesn't always gel overnight together. So we also need to be patient. Tony needs to be patient, the fans need to be patient, and we need to be patient with the players. But there are, the platform of anybody coming through this door and working for Rotherham is they work hard. Yeah, they've got to be honest people, and they've got to be resilient, because there's going to be bad days, and we have to get through that. We have to get through it together, aligned.
We've talked recruiting players there. One of your first priorities, I imagine, will be to recruit a manager or head coach. Is a process you'll be heavily involved in. Now, I'm sure you've already got a shortlist drawn up in your head behind the scenes, but perhaps to follow on from that, will their character need to be the same as all the traits you've just discussed there? Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt, and I've already had a conversation with Richard Wood, epitomises a Rotherham player. I remember that successful period. And that's, he's a great benchmark for people who should be working in this football club to do that. So that's, certainly in hiring whoever, recruiting whoever, has to have them traits. So yeah, I would say it starts today, but it started a few weeks ago. We finally got to this stage where everything is agreed, and now the real work begins in terms of trying to get the right people through the door.
I was going to say, I don't think your feet are going to touch the ground for a little while, but In terms of priorities, is the management position one that you can see materialising pretty quickly now from the official appointment?
I think, one of the things why I've come in here is not to be on the grass and to coach the team, but to set out strategy, set out where we're going, how we're going to do it, and a team in which I want to see. These are the principles. This is what I want to see Rotherham playing like. I want to see being hard to beat, strong, winning duels, being aggressive, being front foot, high energy. But I want them also to be able to, the only way you get promotion and get to the top of the league is to play football as well and to have quality players. So I want players that will get me off my seat as well. I've always had that as a manager. Whenever I watch games, I love that, see that. But I love them players who can make a difference. And so we'll try and find the balance. And the most important thing in my vision is to get a squad, build a squad, 11 plus the 11 to 23. They're the most important, to get out there and play football how we want them to play. So that structure and that will be married together with the head coach, all the coaching staff, everybody from the chairman down.
Finally, you've said it yourself, the product on the pitch is the all-important product, isn't it? That matters what happens on a Saturday. But you'll be involved in tangible improvements like things at the training ground, and I understand structural personnel things as well.
What we've got to do, and the key thing, is to create an environment where the players, and they're the most important people, create an environment where the players can bring their best. That's it. I think when I look at the history of what Cambridge have done, they've changed over the players, but they've created an environment. They built a new training ground, the environment where the players, they got the best that they could get out of them players. And that's why they're successful. And that's the environment that you have to create.
Welcome to Rotherham United, Steve. Looking forward to having you on board.
Thank you very much.